Chelsea Sherrod here with Zach Cox, who's over at Gillette Stadium for the Patriots' Wednesday practice. The Pats are preparing for a big AFC matchup against the Cleveland Browns on Sunday. Zach, before we get into this matchup, we've got to talk about former Browns wide receiver and newly free agent Odell Beckham Jr. What's the word on his potential landing in New England?
Yeah, still no word at this point. There was a time earlier today when it seemed like the Patriots were out of the running for Odell. Now there's been subsequent reports that they're still in the mix. They're still interested. We don't really know at this point. It does seem like there are maybe about 5 or 6 teams that are in that mix for Odell Beckham. I think some of it is going to come down to what Odell Beckham wants, whether he'd be interested in going to a team like the Patriots that does not have a proven veteran quarterback that likes to run the ball a lot, that has kind of a balanced passing attack without a clear number one in there. A lot of factors at play here, but it does seem like the Patriots still are in the mix for Odell Beckham at the moment.
Absolutely. So we're not ruling that out just yet. Okay, on to Sunday. The Pats are going to face a Browns team that's facing some adversity. Almost their entire running back group is currently in COVID protocols, including Nick Chubb. What does this mean for this Browns offense? And also, how does this change, or does this change at all, the Patriots defense and how they prepare for them?
It would certainly be a big loss. I mean, Nick Chubb is one of the top 2, 3, 4 running backs in the entire NFL, and he's really the driving force of that run-heavy Browns offense. It is worth noting, though, that a couple weeks ago, Nick Chubb wasn't available, Kareem Hunt wasn't available, and the Browns' third-string running back, Dearness Johnson, went for over 140 yards. So they have a very talented offensive line. It's a kind of team that doesn't necessarily need Nick Chubb in there to be productive on the ground, as they proved in that game a couple weeks back. But I mean, not having to face one of the best running backs in the NFL this season certainly would be a big benefit for a Patriots defense that has been much better against the run over these last 3, 4, 5 games than it was early in the year.
Absolutely, absolutely. And the Patriots running back group is also taking a hit this week. Damian Harris and Ramondre Stevenson both are in concussion protocol. What does their status currently look like, Zach? And should we expect to see guys like J.J. Taylor and Brandon Bolden take on a bigger role this week?
Yeah, well, Bolden and Taylor would need to take on a bigger role if either Stevenson or Harris is unavailable, because they currently are the only 2 healthy running backs on the Patriots roster, and the Patriots do not have any running backs on their practice squad. As of this afternoon, Wednesday afternoon, Harris and Stevenson both still in concussion protocol. Neither of them practiced today. They just did some conditioning work on a side field. The fact that the Patriots haven't brought in any other running backs, either to add to their practice squad or add to their roster, kind of points towards some optimism, in my opinion, that at least one of those players will be available on Sunday. But with concussions, you can never tell. Sometimes these are 2-3 day injuries. Sometimes these are multi-week injuries. So that's just going to have to be a situation that we'll continue to monitor over the course of the week. But losing either of those players would be a pretty significant loss, because both of them have run the ball very well lately.
Absolutely, absolutely. And one player that the Pats are going to have to prepare for is Myles Garrett, who's the league's best pass rusher. He's got 12 sacks on the season so far. Earlier in the year, the Patriots offensive line struggled with protecting Mac Jones. How vital will pass protection be in the Patriots' success this week?
Extremely vital. I mean, this is one of the toughest matchups that the Patriots offensive line will see this season. As you mentioned, Myles Garrett, league leader in sacks, probably the best edge rusher, pass rusher in the NFL at the moment. And the Patriots offensive line it's stabilized in recent weeks. I think the kind of new starting 5 that they settled on a couple of weeks back has really improved that unit and has protected Mac Jones a lot better. But there have still been some breakdowns. You saw Mac Jones get sacked twice in that game the other day against the Carolina Panthers. And this is certainly going to be a tough matchup for guys like Isaiah Wynn, who has not been at his best this season, and even Michael Wenu over on the right side, who has played well. One potential wild card in this whole equation, Trent Brown did return to practice today. Patriots starting right tackle, also has experience at left tackle. Still TBD on whether he'll be activated in time for Sunday, but that would definitely give the Patriots another experienced body and a proven pass blocker at one of those 2 tackle spots.
Absolutely, Zach. Thanks so much for your insight. The Patriots are looking for a win on Sunday against the Browns, and one that could have big playoff implications.